For today's meter video, we're going to examine the Westinghouse Round Type watt meter. These meters were produced, I believe, from 1897 to 1903, and they measured directly in watt hours rather than kilowatt hours. Now, the only difference between a watt-hour meter and a kilowatt-hour meter is there is a dial labeled hundreds in the upper right-hand corner of these particular meters, and for each division of that particular upper right-hand dial, according to the nameplate information, is one division of 100's dial equals 100 watt hours. So in other words, that upper right hand register has to make one complete revolution for 1 kilowatt hour. In later meters, when they made the conversion from watt hours to kilowatt hours, that small watt-hour disc actually became referred to as a test dial on Canadian meters, and was omitted completely on US manufactured meters. Now, according to this particular meter with a metal cover that we're looking at right now, the last patent date on this one was in 1898. So this particular meter was manufactured after 1898 and before 1903. Now, these were kind of ornamental in that they have this embossed front cover, which says the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA, and single-phase watt meter. Now, another thing about these particular type meters are the connections were actually wired from the reverse or the rear of the meter. This type of connection only lasted for a few years because obviously they were quite cumbersome to connect. Now, I'm presently operating these meters with a 1300 watt incandescent lamp load, which is on the floor just to my right rear. Now, I'm not sure whether the camera will pick up the rotation of the disc inside this particular metal covered meter, because this one is rated at 5 amperes and 100 volts. Now, with a 1300 watt load on the thing, that's running about 13 amps approximately, and we'll say under 15. Now, these old meters were rated at, if they were rated at 5 amps, they'd carry 10 maximum. According to the register on this that I've now run 2 kilowatt hours through this meter since I hooked it up. Now, these occurred in both the zinc die-cast metal covered meter, which you see in front, and if we swing the camera over to the right, you'll see the Westinghouse Type A meter. I'm sorry, it's not the Type A, it's the Round Type. And this particular glass-covered version is rated at 20 amps and 100 volts. Now, the disc speed on the 20 amp meter would be approximately 1/4 of the speed of the disc on the 5 amp meter. Again, these meters are wired from the reverse side. The screw connections to lock the wires are on the top of the meter, and again, they were extremely difficult to hook up on the wall. I'm not sure just exactly how they would have done it, because there probably would have to be slack wire in the wall in order to pull them out enough to get connections. Anyway, these meters were the second generation away from the Schallenberger ampere hour meter, which I have a previous video posted on YouTube. And after the Schallenberger ampere hour meter came the Schallenberger watt hour meter, of which I do not have one at the present. I'm always watching for, but you never know. Some of these things are pretty darn scarce with the vintage of them. And in other times, the next meter from this Westinghouse Round Type is the Type A. And the Type A was only made for 1 year. So I'm not really expecting to find a Type A anytime soon, if at all. The only difference actually between the Round Type and the Type A was that the wires on the Type O, or round base rather, were on the rear of the meter, and on the Type A they came around to the top of the meter. Anyway, these meters were fairly heavy in size. They actually weigh 13 pounds apiece. So if you were carrying one, you wouldn't want to drop it on your foot. Anyway, we will take and swing the camera around to our incandescent lamp load, which you see on the floor. Again, it's been my standard load, 1300 watts, that I've used in all the meter videos that I've done so far. The lamp on the left hand side being a 1000 watt lamp, and the one on the right is a 300 watt lamp. Anyway, I've run almost 3 times the current through the 5 amp meter, which was again is this metal covered one. The 5 amp would only take a maximum of 10 amps, and the 20 amp rated meter would actually take a maximum of 40 amperes. The type of suspension in the round type meter, I believe, was a pivot type, and then on later types they went to a different style of bearing, jewel type. Anyway, that's about all that I can say about the Westinghouse Round Type meter at the present time. Thank you for watching.